and they rolled 30 meters down a mountainside. Magegene and Sally would also be forced into retirement with gearbox problems. The designated service point and new leaders. De Villiers and Jordan had got by teammates Grobler and Leek and took advantage of their new long-range fuel tank, which meant they no longer had to refuel at the halfway mark. Grobler and Leek were forced to make a pit stop for fresh tires.
The T6 entry, and well, let's wait and see. That is Hannes Grobler, Richard Leek. Well, we're leading in the early stages. Pit crew running absolutely berserk, and it looks like new rubber.
The first loop, right, haven't come through yet in that Toyota Land Cruiser.
Yeah, we just got lost for
just been told
7
that
minutes
stream
probably.
of dust.
Reineke and Houghton were next into the pits in the ailing Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser.
It was going quite well this morning. We're matching the Nissans, sitting nicely behind them, and then this last loop, just everything's gone wrong. We first had the main cable come off the battery. So every time in the corner, whatever, if the car stalls, you have to get out, hold the cable on, start the car up. All your odo is zero, so a bit of a problem. And then about 40 k's from the end here, we lost the power steering. We don't know why they're trying to sort it, but we're just dropping time now, so we have to try and fix it.
Quick pit stop for Class D leaders Piet Haasbroek and Christo Bosch. Next in were special vehicle category leaders John Weir-Smith and Tony George, who stormed into the pits for fuel, new tyres and, you guessed it, a jack.
Yeah, really good. We just had to try and find a way to get the wheel off because we never had a jack, so Greg's on his way in.
The race was now on with Greg Harvey and Boy Stone arriving in the pits just minutes after the special vehicle leaders, who wasted no time in getting back into the race. Despite frantic activity in the Harvey pit, the Eastern Cape pair would have to be content with slotting into second place behind Weir-Smith and George. A solid performance saw the De Bruins enter the pits with a comfortable lead in Class E. Harvey and Stone ended up leaving the pits 2 minutes behind Weir-Smith and George, while Cliff Barker in the Land Rover Financial Services Land Rover didn't even bother to stop for fuel. Talk about relaxed. Reigning Class B champion Gil Nel took time out for some refreshment while his Safeline Look Africa truggy got a wash. Nel has earned the title of Mr. Consistency over the years, and a class win was not out of the question. De Villiers and Francois Jordan had matters well in hand, and the Nissan Hardbody hadn't missed a beat throughout the event. Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek were on a charge and could have done without being held up by one of the black markers, who politely made way for the Nissan pair. On board with R.P. Reineke and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The ongoing power steering problem made the going tough, and they were later forced to retire from the event.
Well, I did the first loop and I let my nephew do the second loop behind. And then he buggered it up because he broke the steering wheel.
No, without a steering wheel, you can't get very far. It's not a taxi, it's a racing car.
And then our fuel pump stopped working. So I think we're out with the count. We tried though.
Frikkie Botha also got it all wrong.
Frikkie, jy moet skerp draai, ou.
Into the final loop of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, and there was no stopping Geniel De Villiers and Francois Jordan in the Nissan Hardbody. A Nissan 1-2 looked to be on the cards at this stage of the race, which had taken a huge toll and left less than 30 cars running in the event. There was also no stopping Weir-Smith and George, who'd picked up their pace and left Harvey and Stone trailing by over 20 minutes. Also unstoppable were Piet Haasbroek and Christo Bosch in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, who had the measure on the rest of the Class D field. Nissan pair Duncan Foss and Mike Griffith, in only their second year of off-road racing, acquitted themselves well of their task and were second in Class D. Mark Corbett and John Moore had settled down into a comfortable third place in Class D in the Century Property Developments Isuzu, but were closely followed by Greg Harvey and Boy Stone in the second-placed Class A Jimco. Schroeder and Peckham finally got the better of the De Bruynes and were now leading Class E in the Ford Ranger. Cliff Weichelt and Johann Smallberger had moved up to third in Class T in the N1 4x4 Ford Ranger, which won last year's Toyota 1000 with Woolridge behind the wheel. Dawson Ormerod had soldiered on and regained the Class S lead, while Mr. Consistency, Gil Null, had taken command of Class B in his Safeline Luke Africa Truggy. The closing stages of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, and De Villiers and Jordan were heading for yet another victory in their Nissan hardbody. A back-to-back victory for the reigning production vehicle champions. The top 10 in the production vehicle category and class wins for Ford, Nissan and Toyota.
Conditions it was good. There was a bit of dust with us catching the back markers and stuff, but overall it was actually a brilliant day. It was a very nice day, so it was great for Bankfan off-road racing.
John Weir Smith and Tony George in the O'Hagan's Kopenong Hotel Jimco powered their way to the finish and a maiden win in the Bankfan Off-Road Championship. Only 10 special vehicles made it to the finish of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, which was rated as one of the toughest in the 10-year history of the event.
It was really good fun. I think it was a 4x4 race, most definitely. The sugarcane fields were very, very slippery, but it was really great out there. We got one puncture and we lost our jack, so it was a matter of driving onto rocks to try and get the wheels off the ground to change the wheels. Besides that, it was faultless. It was just a wonderful race. Very, very well marked and very well organized.